Hey, my name is Jahel, and I am a lifelong Star Trek fan, joined here by my best friend, Mike.
But you didn't add that you've seen every episode far too many times, to the point of annoyance that you're texting your friends, being belligerent. No, I'm just joking.
If this is your first time here, sorry. No, but...
no, welcome if it's your first time here. Get it together. And I'm Mike, and I have never seen any of Star Trek, the original series, TNG, none of it. I'm experiencing it for the first time and loving the hell out of it. We're in the middle of season 2 right now, but we're going to backtrack slightly and talk about The City on the Edge of Forever, which I loved watching it. I remember in our initial, he's like, so what do you think? And I said, I love this episode. And he said, I knew you would. And then I found out how famous it is. Yeah. So we have comments. There's stuff we want to talk about just about the episode, just a little trivia and just food for thought, everything.
Before we get to the comment, you had a question about the episode that just popped up right before we started filming.
It's early in the episode, and I remember McCoy injects himself, goes mad, they try to find him, and then I'm just trying to flesh out, so they're on this planet, and then McCoy's hiding behind the rock, and then in a fit of madness, he jumps through the portal thing, the Guardian. But I'm just like, if they had, like Scotty tries to get him, if he had tripped him or held him, would any of the Edith stuff have ever happened, or?
That's a good question. And by the way, when I look at the phone, I'm just looking at the comments. There's a couple different ways that one can take this episode, I think. One is if they had stopped him, she would have died anyways because they were already living, in a future where she died, right?
Yes.
The other way, though, is they go back in time and it kind of, you could say, well, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy kind of caused the accident because she's crossing the street to go see them.
Yeah.
So it's like, did they cause the accident? Did they always go back in time the whole time? Or was this something where the past is going to be changed? I mean, time travel stuff, I love time travel stories. They do tend to fall apart the more you think about them. You could see it either way, in my opinion.
You could make arguments in so many ways. Some of these questions of time travel and if this or that didn't happen, I think it's interesting to examine in hindsight.
It's fun to think about.
Or even other stuff. Let's say they tripped him up because they said the thing spit him out like in a moment of history. What if they had detained him for like 5 or 10 minutes, but then he broke free and jumped? Would he have ended somewhere else? I don't know. So I'm just
like I was telling you I texted you last night. While I was rewatching it last night, I text Mike like, "Oh, it's too bad McCoy didn't end up like during the Roman Empire's height, so that Kirk would have been a gladiator.
Kirk would have to battle more people."
But let's get to the comments.
Yeah.
All right. This comment comes from Pepsi Man 990. Easily the best written episode of Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry had recruited science fiction writer Harlan Ellison after he won a 1965 Writers Guild of America Award for Outstanding Script for his Outer Limits episode, Demon with a Glass Hand. That's a great title, too, actually. Yeah, Roddenberry and Ellison went back and forth with rewrites that eventually caused animosity between the two for the rest of their lives. So we kind of touched a little bit about that, how DC Fontana actually did a lot of the rewrites, but it was Roddenberry that wanted them. Here's some new stuff about that we hadn't heard. Ellison even bragged that he wrote a screenplay so good, even Roddenberry couldn't mess it up. Originally, a crew member would be caught selling illicit drugs, and he, Kirk, and Spock would beam down to the planet to execute the crew member. Execute? Maybe you mean like rescue. But Roddenberry thought that was a little too dark for TV at the time.
Maybe it was executed.
Yeah, maybe.
Was Edith even in the initial?
I believe she is still in the original one.
Before all the rewrites.
I could be wrong, but hey, let us know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But yeah, the original one involved a crew member on the Enterprise selling drugs.
Okay.
Which doesn't... I agree with Roddenberry. That doesn't feel like something a Starfleet crew member would be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the background and comment. All right, this next one comes from Wayne T1022. I think this is somebody, new name in the comments.
Well, thank you very much.
I hope Mike will rate this one 5 stars.
Yeah, I think I said 4.75. And I do have to say, because there's been some in the comments, and again, initially I was pretty... I think I didn't know how good some of these episodes were going to be. Yeah. So I was just... I don't know. I think I had this weird notion in my head. It was like nothing's 5 stars. So the highest it'll ever be is like 4.5, 4.75.
Yeah,
and now
nothing's perfect.
I mean, right now, exactly. And like even now, halfway through season 2, there's several episodes I would put at 5 stars right now.
Yeah.
So I think I said 4.75 at the time. But I mean, I wish we had started right before we started filming these question and answers. We rewatched the second half of the episode just to, in case something came up that we forgot about, or just to keep it fresh in our memories. My eyes were like moist like Kirk's at the end of this episode. And I said to him, like, can we just start rolling? Because like I'm close to crying because it's such a powerful ending, which that's art. that is art.
Yeah.
And
This is an episode that, despite me seeing it a bunch of times, it gets me still.
It's timeless.
All the time.
It's a story of love. It's a story of world implications.
Yeah.
A story of friendship also that, even McCoy and Spock both try and do, well, more Spock, the necessity of letting this play out the way it's supposed to play out once they figure it out. Wow.
I think you're right I think you might have given it a 4.75. We did the initial reaction and filming months ago. I don't remember, maybe like a month and a half ago.
This was probably a month and a half ago.
So I don't remember exactly what you gave, but I think it was 4.75. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your thinking was also kind of like, well, there's not going to be...
I was coming off the alternative factor.
That doesn't help.
My mental state was not well.
But I mean, when we started doing the ratings, I think you had mentioned that you were also kind of thinking, well, how many episodes are really going to be at a 5 level in that series? How many episodes are at a 5 level in any series?
Oh, sure.
So I think that was also kind of your thinking, like there'll be like 1 or 2, the whole series I give a 5
I think so.
So I think the quality of the show, I think, it kind of catches you off guard, or you don't expect the quality to be so high so often.
I think you're very right about that. Especially the season 2 has been great.
Yeah.
The end of season 1, even though the first half had some great episodes that we really liked.
Yeah, we just finished watching episode 17, and it's 26 episodes. So we're a little bit over halfway through, right? No, we're just under halfway through season.
Yeah, it's even halfway through season 2. I mean, I don't want to spoil any recap. I would put City on the Edge and probably top of my head Journey to Babel are my two favorite. And, I don't want to...
You really liked Obsession.
Yeah, I mean...
that's
another conversation.
Too many spoilers
Go
for
off on tangents.
all right. This comment comes from Brett Harris, 7696. Oh, double dip it in the comments, Brett. I like it. Well, he had replied to somebody earlier. Not going to lie, it's my personal favorite episode. I hope by saying so, along with others, it doesn't raise expectations to an unrealistic level. This episode is so good. Even if I told you this is the best episode of Star Trek, you still would have liked it just as much.
I think so. To me, I mean, the storytelling, just everything, the mood, the pace was very good. Even something we haven't talked about yet in any of these comments, the comedic moment, that cop, if I could say, and watching it, that cop was perfect for that scene.
He's talking about the cop that catches Spock and Kirk stealing the clothes. Yeah, he's great.
That is an example in an acting sense of less is more. He knew his role. Just watching Kirk. And it's even so funny that it's funny with women, as whimsical and charming as Kirk is, when he has to come up with a lie, he kind of freezes on sight. Spock is the one who's correcting him, and then Kirk's just spewing out kind of
just random
basic.
Spock's like, oh yeah, he's Chinese.
He's like, you remember the life-changing accident as a child, and Kirk's like, oh yes,
the rice picker accident.
What?
And then he says, thankfully there was a nearby person who was a surgeon before there was something.
Yeah, but it was so, especially in that moment.
It's great. It's a great.
But in that moment of the episode, between the madness of McCoy and kind of before the storyline with Edith, it's that great little buffer to keep us interested and laughing, and also a little bit of action, the nerve pinch. Like this, actually, it's funny because we love the fight scenes in a lot of these. This one had very little physical.
Yeah, very, very little.
But it didn't need it.
Absolutely
at all.
The story is great, and Spock is so funny in that scene.
That's a great
Spock
scene. That's an underrated scene.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's not an underrated scene, but it's a good scene in this that maybe isn't talked about as much as the Edith scene.
It's funny. This episode is so good that I feel like that scene in a lot of other episodes would have been like
the best scene. Exactly.
But this episode is so full of the best scene.
Oh, absolutely.
This one comes to us from Shannon Bailey. Absolute classic. Quite somber, too, reflected by Kirk's line at the end. Let's get the hell out of here. You feel that weight on Kirk and us as viewers.
There's an episode of Seinfeld, it's called The Forbidden City, where George has access to like a nightclub with extremely attractive women. Him and Jerry go there, and then George loses access. They go back. It's a meatpacking plant. And Jerry just whimsically says, let's get the hell out of here. And
that's gotta be.
It's gotta be. And also,
the name of the episode.
Just thinking their age, the name of the episode, it was called The Forbidden City, that episode of Seinfeld. It was like season 8 or 9, if there's Seinfeld fans out there. And just Jerry being the age, he's 71. I mean, he would have grown up watching, he would have been a teenager.
Jerry Seinfeld's current age, just like that off the top of your head?
I actually do. He's the same age as my uncle, actually.
I mean, I know.
I'm a big Seinfeld fan also.
I know William Shatner's age, so maybe I should shut up.
Get out of here. But I just wonder if anybody knows for certain if that Seinfeld quote was from "Let's get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
But I mean, but to examine the quote by itself for a second, if you really think there could have been so many lines you could have ended an episode, And that just, to me, it speaks of just, he's ready to just try to move on. Let's get back to work, whatever it is to.
And I've read, I don't know if it's true, but I've read that that Gene had to fight to get that the network to let them have that be the last song, because I guess saying hell.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
So great that they kept it in. Whatever the circumstances were for having that line, and it's the perfect line. And you mentioned, because we just finished rewatching the episode before we started filming, the pain you see in Kirk's eyes when he says it.
I mean, he never really, and I said too, so many of these episodes, sometimes even the serious ones will end with a whimsical laugh and cup of coffee, like a feel-good moment. It didn't.
Yeah, it would have been so awkward if they ended like joking around on the bridge, All right, let's read this next one. Comes from Lester Manley. There is some generic, in quotes, love here, TV love, that is. Only if the love interest dies can the audience believe that their love was true. I'm sure after a few weeks, Kirk would have been looking for his next piece.
Well, that would be true to the story.
I mean, sure enough. I mean, a few weeks later, well, not in the timeline of the show, but for us, we were watching him battle Spock a few weeks later in a mock time. This next one comes from Station 7, The Door. With Kirk's various love interests in the series so far, which combo does each of you ship the most? I don't know if you know what that means, shipping, in terms of fandoms, because I don't think it's so shipping means basically like I ship the couple. I ship Kirk and Edith. It just means that you like them as a couple, kind of a thing, basically.
Okay. No, I hadn't know that term though.
It's I'm hip and young, so I know these terms. So they're saying, out of all the love interests that you've seen Kirk have so far, which
are we just going up to this, or are we going to
let's go. We can go up to where we've watched up to episode 17. A piece of the action was the last episode.
This could be a whole separate video on itself.
But who do you think so
Kirk's
far?
it better be it.
Who do you think so far is
Ooh.
For me, it's Edith Keeler so far.
Yeah.
I think I even said it during our discussion for the reaction. She, to me, so far is the most believable, where you could see Kirk not just falling in love with her, but wanting to be with her long term.
I think Kirk is somebody very intelligent, though. The pacifist movement and her wit and intelligence, I think that impresses him more than which we don't really see. I mean, if you want to say side stories, we just watched, what was the last one with the green-haired girl?
The Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yes, and look, I'm not saying this character. I just thought the actress, actually, for her material, she played like a very simple-minded person on this planet, like pretty girl with wide eyes and kind of her cheeks. And she's like, let me come with you. I want to learn more about life. And Kirk actually has to kind of, even though, he kisses her and stuff, I feel like he cares for her, but he realizes she needs to stay on the planet. It might be like an underrated kind of guest love interest and not his most famous. I thought she played it very nicely. I almost felt bad. It was like, she's so simple-minded.
But, she's too simple-minded for Kirk, really.
Yeah, we also just watched that, so that's kind of fresh in my head. I know I'm forgetting. That's why
the other love...
Pick another one or two.
Yeah.
I don't say there's so many, but there are so many.
No, there are. I can't remember her name right now, but the blonde-haired daughter from Conscience of the King, Kodo's
she
daughter.
did a very good job.
They had chemistry, too. Remember at the party where she's like, oh, is this drink for me? And Kirk's like, why not?
Yeah, it's so funny that...
She was good. Of course, she did turn out to be a psycho.
That was an episode I really liked, too. And it's funny, you said it wasn't the most famous of episodes. I thought it was an interesting
Dr. Noel from Dagger of the Mind.
Yeah, she's, gorgeous, too.
Yeah. Rand. Yeah. Rand and Edith Keeler are neck and neck.
Yeah, actually, now that you say Rand, I'll say Rand. Because there's so many moments in 4 of the first 10 episodes, brief moments. And then the one... is it Noelle on the ship when she gives the side eye look that he brought another woman on the ship?
No, it's Conscious of the King. The blonde's on the actress.
That might have been her last appearance though, because she didn't continue on the show. But
we saw her later. I think that was one of her last filmed ones. Because people will tell us in the comments, well, this is her last appearance because they filmed it here, but they actually aired it earlier. But long story short, we have seen at this point. Thanks for ruining it in the comments for Mike.
No, but thanks for reminding me about Rand though, because Rand, and I said this as we were watching it in real time, does this become a thing, like a slow building?
And unfortunately, people in the comments would be like, no, she leaves the show. I'm like, come on, guys.
I liked it. In the brief moments they had in those early 10 or 12 episodes, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, no. It was great stuff with them. This comment comes from Sarah Fullerton. City is my absolute favorite episode of any Star Trek iteration. It feels more like a movie short maybe, and not an episode. That was one thing we have privately mentioned, that it feels like you're watching a film during this episode.
It's paced very well, this episode too.
The acting, directing, set design, and extras all made for a realistic sense of Kirk, Spock, and later Bones living in another time for at least a month. I love the mix of funny / silky romance, then Bones' insane confusion, followed by Kirk's heartbreak and Spock's understanding. Joan Collins, there's more, brother.
No, go, because I have something to add to what you're saying.
Joan Collins was incandescent, beautiful, kind, selfless, and mission-oriented, much like Kirk. William Shatner really sold us on his being in love, and the episode gives the romance time to grow. Leonard Nimoy does an excellent job of balancing his scientific skills to figure out how to figure out what's going on, and gives Vulcan sympathy when he sees his best friend's heart has been torn out of his. And then in quotes, his "he knows, Doctor, he knows" is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I'm glad that was referenced.
And last line here, and DeForest Kelly knocked it out of the park. Great.
Thank you. And I'm just adding to your thoughts. None original, I assure you. But no, everything you said.
His thoughts are not original.
No, but he knows. That actually brings up. There's so many subtle things in this episode. I said even like in the mission, the salt is very low. The scene when Spock's working on the controls, he hears the door open, but he doesn't see it's Jim. He's about to put on the hat in case it's Edith or something. He sees it's Jim. He puts it down. Just to me, those, and they're like, if you're not paying attention, you might not even notice them, but those little things just add to the story. And to finish your thought, it's not even a criticism. That's not the right word. If this was a film, I could have seen another 40 minutes or 30 minutes maybe of the romance before the car accident.
Sure.
Or maybe they discover McCoy, but they still don't kind of know when it's going to happen. Like maybe they find him, but then they separate at times and then it happens. You could have stretched this, I think, to film length. And it wouldn't have felt like you were stretching it. You just could have played more of these moments.
I agree. They could have even had scenes before Kirk and Spock go through the portal of maybe the Guardian telling them other events that changed because of this, and then they're convinced, maybe there were 5 world wars because of this. And Kirk and Spock are like, all right, we have to go,
Absolutely. So much more.
There's a ton of meat on the bone in the episode, and there's still more you could do with it. It just speaks to what a great idea for a story it is. This next comment comes from Mike Bozick. If I wanted to introduce Star Trek to someone, I can't think of a better trio of episodes. I wonder what 3... Oh, I know. I'll get to that. As deep as Shakespeare and just as entertaining. So they're talking about the 3 episodes that we posted this. When we posted this YouTube community post asking for comments, we asked for comments on obviously The City on the Edge of Forever, This Side of Paradise, and I'm trying to find the last one. Space Seed.
Oh, Space Seed.
Yeah. I don't know if I would use this episode, City on the Edge of Forever, to introduce somebody to Star Trek, even as a 3rd episode. They would enjoy it. They would love it, but it has such a bigger impact.
If you know the characters. And that was even, we were talking about, like, my brother has never seen any of Star Trek. So, Billy, we got room on the couch whenever you're ready. But no, seriously, and you're right, because this plays so well, though, because we know Kirk's never been in love. We've seen other love interests, but not true love. We've seen the relationship between the big 3, and especially Spock and Kirk.
And we're seeing, sorry to interrupt.
No.
And we're seeing Spock be empathetic in a way that we don't normally see.
Yeah, more of his, and we said as season 2 progresses, we see a lot more of his human side than we did in season 1. So again, not a wrong choice for a first episode, but I do think it plays better knowing the backstory a little bit more.
I mean, I can't fault anybody for saying, oh, this is an episode I would use to introduce somebody to Star Trek, because it is a great episode.
That's a great argument, though, if you had to pick one episode of this, for the reasons of also they might not know the characters. Well, which one?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It is tough. I generally, when if somebody says, well, give me an episode to be introduced to Star Trek, I generally don't say an episode that's like a big top episode like this one. I try to give them an episode that's like typical of Star Trek. Because if you start them off here, in my opinion, then they kind of have nowhere to go.
No, you're right.
Down.
That's fair.
However, you also want to get somebody into the show, right? And this is a good way to make them go, oh shit, this is good. Let me watch more.
This is actually great, because this could be a whole separate discussion. But if you had to pick, let's just say from season 1, what episode would you pick for the first time?
The Alternative Factor.
No.
There's nowhere to go but up. No, I'm kidding. No one should ever have to watch that again.
As you can tell, we did not care for that episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It just dragged out a little bit. This comment comes to us from Paul D, 6967, frequent commenter. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
I always look for opportunities to use 2 phrases from this episode in my daily interactions. This is the first one. With stone knives and bear skins. Spock keeps saying, for those who may not remember.
Is that with the tools?
Yeah, that he's like, I'm having to work on this computer with stone knives and bear skins.
That's a good line.
Then the other one is a question. Since before your sun burned hot in space and before your race was born, I have awaited a question. 2 great quotes, though. The stone knives and bear skins is pretty funny.
Let me say real quick, though, because I don't think, I'm sure in our initial reaction we discussed it, but her speech in the 21 mission about the hopes for the future.
She's describing Star Trek.
Yeah, it just hasn't come up yet, so that's why I want to get that in there.
Thank you.
Just how great, and you see like Kirk smiling, and I feel like that's when he's starting to fall in love with her. He's like, she's
one of us, kind of a feeling.
Kind of, which that just progressive, the hope for humanity and mankind, and that just because we haven't talked about it, that was a fantastic speech.
Some of the things she mentions in her speech is like how, the mankind will cure diseases, that there won't be hunger, those kind of things. It's not just about going into space.
No, not at all.
It's more than that.
It's making the world a better place, which I think, at least...
She's basically describing Gene's vision and hope for the future, Gene Roddenberry's vision and hope for the future.
Which is why I did ask you, and you say, well, I don't think he wrote it, but I wonder if Roddenberry had a hand, at least in that speech, because it sounded, if anyone knows...
From what I understand, Roddenberry is the one that wanted the rewrites. I'm sure, producers give notes, right? So he probably, gave some notes on it. We're actually, like we mentioned earlier, we have the episode playing muted. And there's a scene here. Oh, I meant to bring this up.
So this has gone about 50 minutes. Because we're at the end of the episode.
I told you we wouldn't shut up about this episode.
But I'm sure you guys must love hearing it because it's such a great episode on so many levels.
So when Bones finally reunites with Kirk and Spock, Bones comes out and gives them all a big hug, I love that. It's a very real human moment.
There is like a moment of banter we see in the distance.
Yeah, there's
shots
kind of
from
like...
Edith where it's like, oh, everything okay?
like Bones is probably giving Spock shit or vice versa back that we just can't hear it, and then immediately after,
or who knows? They realize this could be it,
Well, who knows?
He knows. We're in the background. He just goes, he knows. Oh, so well done. And even Kirk, he's like holding himself, if I could say, like against the wall.
Yeah,
like
his face is like shaking.
As if he's shaking. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But we're cutting it short. We really, as a popular episode, we wanted to do something a little more in-depth and get more comments than we normally get. So... And truly, we appreciate it because these kind of comments help just inspire and incite in a good way. So much more delving in and into these episodes and debate and whatnot. So we can't thank you enough for supporting us.
Yeah, and normally we would have, probably already filmed an episode for a reaction, but we ended up watching City on the Edge of Forever before filming instead. And we were just going to have it on while setting up, the lights and camera. And about 20 minutes into it, Mike goes, can we just finish the episode?
It's so good.
It's so good.
But again, and I'm sure there's even more little things that you guys are going to drop in the comments that we either missed or didn't talk about. Just so much detail. And that, again, a work of art this episode. It sounds like we all are in agreement. And thank you so much.
Thanks.